Yo, what's going on everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, and welcome to our review of the Rambo game for the NES. Let's see if the AVGN was correct about this game.
Originally released in 1987, this was developed by Pack-In Video and published by Acclaim. Who's Pack-In Video, you ask? Good question, because no one cares. But they did the Game Boy port of Minesweeper, so there's that. Anyway, like Bri said, this is a pretty infamous game, so let's see if it deserves all the hate it gets.
Similar to Rambo The First Blood Part 2 for the Master System, this game might look kind of familiar, because it's semi-based on the engine that built Legend of Zelda 2. Everyone knows about that game, that they strayed away from the typical formula, so as you can see in Rambo himself, the sprite's kinda similar and the movements and animations of some of the characters, it's stuff we've seen before. Putting that aside, look at these backgrounds. Most of them have just one or two dominant colors, and the rest is usually just a repeating wall or tree or some barrels. There's not really a lot going on here. And hey, what the fuck is up with Rambo? I don't remember a scene in Rambo First Blood Part 2 when he straps on some red-orange spandex and runs around shirtless. Not to mention, why is he fighting all this wildlife? I can accept he's in the jungle and that he might have to avoid some things, but it gets ridiculous. First it's bees, and snakes, and spiders, fucking tigers, and then Donkey Kong makes an entrance. The fuck's he doing in here? I don't know, this shit, it's just weird. Eventually you do fight some humans who all kind of look the same, and then it all kind of repeats over and over. We're not saying we absolutely hated the graphics, they were just boring as balls. So, as you see from our scores, I gave it a 4, Jim gave it a 5. I'm gonna give one beer just for how bad Stallone looks when you interact with other characters. What the fuck is that?
Alright, the sound. Well, I guess we'll start with the music. You have one song that's basically the dominant song, and I guess it's not bad, but it's short and you hear it over and over and over and fucking over again. And you get sick of it real fast. There's songs during the different scenes sometimes, and there's songs during a different song for when you're doing dialogue, but besides that, it's kind of a weak package. The sound effects are weird and really lacking. And there randomly seems to be like almost glitches where, take for example when this gun turret's shooting you. Don't you think there should be a noise there? The sound effects you do get really are not varied enough at all, and it's just a weak package. So Bri gave it a 3 and I gave it a 4. As far as beer goes, I want to give it 2 beers. One for the repeating music, and one for the lackluster sound effects.
You might have heard me last game mention Rambo is a good runner. And hey, they at least have him in a running animation, but you still move really, really slow. Not to mention, the delay in this game is annoying. Now granted, since Jim and I have played enough games, we learn to deal with delay very fast. But learning to deal with something doesn't mean it's good or even okay. When you swing your knife, you know there's going to be a little bit of delay, and when you're fighting most of the early enemies, they kind of pop in on you off screen, so you either have to anticipate their attack, or you're almost definitely going to get hit. Not to mention, some of the hitboxes when you do have your ranged weapons, they're kind of bullshitty. Like, you'll be shooting your gun or your bow, you swear you have someone dead to rights, and it just does nothing. The platforming, the tiny bit that there is actually okay, but then again, it's super simplistic, so we really don't have enough to either knock or give this game any credit for that. Other than that, it sometimes felt annoying to switch between your items, but that's a minor gripe that you can let go of pretty fast. So as you see from our scores, we both gave it 4s, and I'm gonna add a beer because I just rhymed.
What?
Scores and 4s?
Really? That's the best you got!
I'll add 1 beer because Jim touches himself.
Go back to the 4.
Don't forget to shut the door.
Move on! Alright, the gameplay. Well, Bri already mentioned this, but this is a lot like Zelda 2. It's side-scrolling, you get experience points after killing enemies, you have a lot of weapons that kind of come right from Zelda 2. Some of the enemies have similar patterns to Zelda. If you played Zelda 2, you basically played this.
Zelda doesn't have a machine gun.
Zelda wishes he had a machine gun.
Pussy.
Anyway, the game gives you objectives. You have to do a little bit of puzzle solving, and you have to do that by traversing this god-awful, non-mapped landscape where it's so easy to get lost. And the game will punish you by repeating. Well, you'll go all the way right, and guess what? You'll wind up on the left side of the screen you just came out of, if you don't go the right way. Although sometimes you can trigger it to where it'll be something else if you do something right before then. It's really annoying and a little hard to explain, but let's just tell you it's way too easy to get lost.
Kinda like Castlevania 2!
Yeah, kinda like that. Another problem with the game is, well, besides the fact you're fighting bees for most of the game, the enemies just hit you way too fast, and it's way too hard to avoid some of them. There's so many cheap, easy hits. So when it comes to scoring, if you take a game that's as good as Zelda 2 and you kind of screw up what made it good, it's hard to give it any kind of decent points. But we like what the game was going for, so Brad gave it a 4 and I gave it a 5. It's close but no cigar, I guess you could say. Or no bandana. Huh? Because he's Rambo and he wears a bandana? Ow. Anyway, as far as beer goes, I'm gonna give it... I'm gonna give it 3 beers just because of how goddamn lost I got in this game.
Ooh, the originality. Like the majority of the Rambo games that we're gonna review, this game did not have much to offer. We've said it at great length. This game took things from Legend of Zelda 2, Castlevania 2, and really didn't offer much. We will say there was one real original moment that we hadn't seen in many games, and I'm gonna warn you, spoilers, if you really want to consider this a spoiler. At the end, when you confront Murdoch, you can shoot a kanji, whatever, it's that weird Jap shit. You know what I'm talking about.
What? No, god damn it again!
And you convert him into a frog. Now, doing a little research, the symbol that you shoot at him actually means like anger or something. I don't know. It's fucking weird. We've never seen that before, but the rest of the game is pretty goddamn standard. So, we both gave it 3s, so I'm only gonna add 1 beer for those goddamn weird
Don't, wait, no, don't.
What?
Don't do it. I know what you're gonna do. Don't do it.
I was gonna say flamingos.
Yeah, that's what you were gonna do. I'm sure of it. Replayability we can keep short. The game's tough, it takes you a while to get used to, and it's gonna take you a while to memorize where you have to go because of the goddamn paths in this game. Besides that, there's nothing different with every playthrough. So we couldn't give it any more than 3s. And when it comes to beer, I'm just gonna add 1 beer for... God damn it, a map would have helped.
So overall, do not get it twisted. We are not trying to defend this game at all, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Sure, it's really goofy, the control can be really stiff and semi-delayed, and they got all the weird shit in here, but if they just tweaked a few of those minor gripes, this could have been an average game. Jim liked it slightly more than I did. I stuck with it a little bit longer to my own frustration. At the end of the day, I gave it a 3, Jim gave it a 4. It's just not even average. So when we combine all of our scores together, it rounds out to a 3.9. Had they had a map system, slightly better control, and a better presentation, we'd be giving this a much different score. But that's not the world we live in, so yeah, America. When it comes to the beer pairing, I'm gonna have to choose the Brooklyn American Ale. Listen, we love the Brooklyn Brewing Company, but this one didn't really knock our socks off. And just like the Rambo series, not everything that come from that franchise are things we enjoyed. So, pair these two together, it's definitely a pounding style beer, and you're gonna need a good amount to get through this goddamn game. But remember to drink your beers and play your games responsibly. As always, guys, thanks for checking out this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure you give us a thumbs up, leave some comments, or better yet, why not subscribe? Till next time, guys, cheers.